They're messing up the cars and everything. Someone wants to play games and change their mind. Are they really about peace or just some maneuvering? Another one said that they are presumed dead. They're either dead or they is not. So be more clear. Well, there's just so much that's in their water nowadays. Many have behaviors today that are now being influenced by what is allowed to be advertised, depicting as good for them to do. If they really want for something not to happen, then why make whatsoever things look to be as something good for them all to do? Help youth music vibes be more better tomorrow for them for however long, if you really care for them all today, that is. And don't any dare be fake about caring rightly, decently for anyone henceforth either. 1 John chapter 4, verse 20. Even during wars, there are proper ways for everyone to must go by in doing things to get the business details of things utmost properly done today. Understand the letterings for someone above you now, everyone, and hear something to notice about them all, so pay attention. 1 John chapter 4, verse 12. No man or woman has seen the Messiah's one true God, Jehovah, Yehovah, Yahuwah, Yahuwah, Yahweh, Yahuwah, Yahuwah, at any time. If we love one another, the Messiah's one true God, Jehovah, Yehovah, Yahuwah, Yahuwah, Yahweh, Yahuwah, Yahuwah, live in us, and his love is improved in us. If we all would love and care rightly for everyone, that is, if anyone today cannot do so for whatsoever reason that they think now to be okay, if anyone today cannot do so for whatsoever reason that they think now to be okay for them to not love and care rightly for everyone, then I don't know about you. So many are ready to do violence today. That ain't caring rightly for anyone that do, no matter how much money or influence, power, platform that you got now too. So get right. I'm about to fill you up. You can get right before the day is up. You can get right. Get right. Breaking news for August 16, 2024. Hamas says Biden buying time on Gaza talks to ease tensions for election. Biden has been speaking like unto the mediators in the White House. A senior Hamas official has told Newsweek that the White House was offering an overly excessively more than what's necessary positive portrayal of the latest ceasefire talks on Gaza in a bid to ease regional tensions ahead of the upcoming U.S. presidential election. They are wanting to ease the tensions in Gaza before the U.S. presidential election, according to a senior Hamas official. Bassem Naim, a spokesperson and former health minister of Hamas, argued that Washington's actions were rooted in two separate yet simultaneous objectives. Bassem Naim is saying that Washington is trying to do two separate things all at the same time. The first is to cool the regional front, Naim told Newsweek. The second is that they need a ceasefire deal for internal reasons related to the elections. Naim also echoed the words of fellow spokesperson Sami Abu Zawi, who told Reuters earlier Friday that the American administration is trying to spread a false positive atmosphere and is not serious about stopping the war. What does that mean for someone to be saying now that the American administration is not trying to stop the war that is involving Hamas? The comments come as President Joe Biden's administration pushes for a breakthrough in long-stalled Israel-Hamas ceasefire talks now taking place against the backdrop of threats from Iran of vengeance against Israel over the unclaimed unliving of Hamas political bureau leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran late last month. Speaking to reporters on Friday, a senior Biden administration official warned of serious consequences for Iran should it carry out such an attack, but otherwise provided one of the most hopeful reactions yet to the latest round of Gaza negotiations being held in the Qatar capital of Doha. The official said the goal was to reach a deal over the coming week, during the week of Monday, August 19th, 2024. As for reactions from Hamas, the senior Biden administration official stated, "I wouldn't take anything too seriously. I wouldn't take anything too seriously. The agreement was first outlined by Biden in late May and promoted as the most viable, workable, likely possible path toward ending the dispute conflict that began last October 2023 with a Hamas-led surprise attack on Israel. Around 1,200 people were forced to become now unliving and around 240 more taken hostage during the unprecedented, never done or known before attack conducted by Hamas and joined small Palestinian organized, dissenting, holding, or expressing opinions kind of groups within a larger one, especially in politics, according to Israeli officials. More than 40,000 people have since been forced to become now unliving in the occurring afterward or as a result war in Gaza, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry based in the Hamas-led territory. The deal, as outlined by Biden and backed by a UN Security Council resolution in June 2024, would first implement. The first effect would be a 6-week pause in fighting, a prisoner swap, a surge in humanitarian aid to Gaza, and an Israeli withdrawal from densely populated areas of the Palestinian territory. The following stages would lead to a total cessation, fact or process of ending or being brought to an end of hostilities, the release of all remaining hostages held by Hamas, a full Israeli withdrawal, and a reconstruction, rebuilding, and recovery plan for Gaza. Representatives of Israel and Hamas have offered conflicting details over the contents of the deal, however, and have accused one another standing in the way of progress. Meanwhile, clashes, violent confrontations, conflicts, disputes of violence have continued across Gaza, and Israeli officials have vowed to continue the war until all hostages were freed and Hamas was decisively in a manner that settles an issue convincingly or produces a definite result to surely show to Israel that Hamas has truly been defeated, conquered. The senior Biden administration official confirmed Friday that both sides had weighed in on the proposal throughout the process. On July 3, 2024, Hamas came back with a response with a number of changes, many of which were not acceptable, but many of which were the basis for further discussion. And Israel on July 27, 2024, issued some clarifications to the text. The senior Biden administration official said. And basically, what we've done is taken the gaps that remain and have bridged those in a way that we think basically is a deal that is now ready to close and implement, become into effect, and move forward. Still, the official admitted there is still more work to do. They gonna have to all get together decently, not indecently, and talk rightly because there seems to be a lot of details. They gonna have to all get together. 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 40. The reaction from Hamas, which is not directly participating in the latest round of negotiations and is instead being represented by the Qatari and Egyptian representatives, was far less positive. A statement shared with Newsweek and regarded as being caused by to a leading source in Hamas expressed that the group was informed by the mediators of the results of the last round of talks in Doha, Qatar, and the new American proposal, which responds to the Israeli occupation's conditions and is in agreement with them. We have confirmed once again that the occupation does not want to reach an agreement and continues to evade, escape, or avoid and obstruct, make difficult, block to prevent or hinder it, the statement said, and insists on adding the new conditions it announced to obstruct, make difficult, block to prevent or hinder the agreement. Is somebody playing games here? If so, don't be playing any games, people. This is very serious right now, understand? So best you all try to be serious. Henceforth, Hamas confirms its commitment to what it agreed to only July 2nd, 2024, which is based on the Biden Declaration and the Security Council resolution. The statement added, Hamas calls on the mediators to pressure the Israel government and promise it to carry out what was agreed upon. Okay, And Hamas, you all make sure that you also do henceforth all that you is now to do. Understand? The source also stated that any agreement must guarantee the fact or process of ending or being brought to an end of hostile or violent behavior or attitudes toward another, readiness to attack or confront, readiness to attack or confront must come to an end against our people, withdrawal from the Gaza Strip, provision of urgent relief in the form of food and medicine, and reaching a real deal to exchange prisoners. Okay, and Hamas, you also make sure that you too, from this point on, keep to your part of the bargain too. Capiche? In a statement shared with Newsweek, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office said that Israel appreciates the efforts of the United States and the mediators to persuade Hamas from its refusal to agree to a deal for the release of the hostages. Okay, Netanyahu mentioned about the hostages, but what about them other things that Hamas must keep to for their end of the bargain too? Israel's core principles are well known to the mediators and to the United States, the statement said, and Israel hopes that their pressure will lead Hamas to accept the May 27 principles in order for the details of the agreement to be implemented, made into effect. As Naim and other Hamas officials accused Netanyahu of repeatedly adding new conditions to make difficult, block, to prevent or hinder a deal. Israeli Foreign Ministry special, a messenger or representative, especially one on a diplomatic international relations mission, Fleur Hassan Nahum told Newsweek earlier this week, meaning the week of August 16, 2024, that the conditions that Israel has, it's had all along. The conditions that Israel has, it's had all along. We're not going to allow armed terrorists to go back to the north of Gaza. We have to block the Philadelphia route, she said at the time, and Hamas has to go. So it has been Hamas who has been changing, readjusting their conditions for the peace deal, not Israel. Okay. Reached for comment, the White House referred Newsweek to the comments made by the senior administration official on Friday's call. The 10-month war has sparked a sector crisis, with small organized dissenting, holding or expressing opinion groups within a larger one, especially in politics, of the Iran-aligned axis of resistance, conducting regular attacks on Israel from Lebanon, Iraq, and Yemen. Iran also launched an unprecedented, never done or known before, direct missile and drone barrage, concentrated artillery bombardment, continuous attack with bombs, shells, or other missiles over a wide area against Israel in April 2024 after the unliving of its senior military officials at the consular, the office of a consul building, embassy, usually called an embassy in Syria. Note, West Asia is Syria. Syria, officially the Syrian Arab Republic, is a country in West Asia located in the eastern Mediterranean and the Levant. It is bounded by the Mediterranean Sea to the west, Turkey to the north, Iraq to the east and southeast, Jordan to the south, and Israel and Lebanon to the southwest. Show me now for you the map of Syria. Note, a consul is an official representative of a government who resides in a foreign country to assist and protect citizens of the consul's country and to promote and smooth smooth ease commercial and diplomatic relations between the two countries. A consul is generally part of a government's diplomatic corps or foreign service and thus enjoys certain privileges and protections in the host state, albeit without full diplomatic immunity. Consuls are usually assigned with providing assistance in bureaucratic, the business of running an organization or government at the expense, cost of efficiency or common sense, to not be wasteful. Consuls provide assistance in bureaucratic issues to both citizens of their own country traveling or living abroad and to the citizens of the country in which the consul resides who wish to travel to or trade with the consul's country. I ponder now to know if consuls have any relation to travel agents. All of the context of that just comes to mind now for some reason to make me ponder about it, is all. Moving on. Now, Henye's murdering in a surprise attack for political or religious reasons in Tehran and the Israeli unliving of top Hezbollah military official Fouad Shukr in Beirut less than a day earlier has fueled calls for another, potentially larger scale strike against Israel. Has fueled calls for another potentially larger scale strike against Israel. The conflict, dispute, and growing threats of instability, lack of stability, state of being unstable, James chapter 1 verse 8, across the Middle East have also emerged, came into view as a top foreign policy issue in the coming US presidential election, with Biden having announced last month that he would not stand for re-election. Vice President Kamala Harris is set to face former President Donald Trump this November, according to this breaking news from the week of August 16, 2024. The cost of this war is being felt within the economies over in the Middle East too. Trump, a staunch, loyal giving or showing firm and constant support or allegiance to a person or institution, supporter of Netanyahu while in office, has criticized Biden's handling of the conflict, dispute, clash, serious disagreement or argument, typically a protracted, lasting for a long time one, repeatedly stating during mass meetings that Hamas would have never attacked Israel if he was in office as a result of his hard-line policies against Iran. Could this be the reason why they was talking about Iranian ones at Trump's rally that had resulted in Trump then being very fortunate? Because Trump has policies against Iran, and so Iran likely do not want for Trump to win the election because of Trump's policies against Iran. So therefore, could this all be a reason why Hamas is constantly mentioning about Biden because Hamas is in communications with Iran? If so, then can Americans influence and or maneuver like that for Iran elections in the same way that Iran or Hamas, I'm now suspecting, has been doing? Yes, I'm now suspecting that Hamas is trying to use the peace deal, could they, to linger negotiations so that they can just keep on mentioning Biden in a sly kind of way, because this particular news reading coverage for the day of August 16, 2024, I don't know. I'm just noticing something now, is all. Something that don't seem right. First Iran, now Hamas. Hamas better not be trying to use the peace deal negotiations as a way for them to commit maneuvering, as how they call it in politics, for Biden's campaign, because they did say something in this one. They did say something in this one, and now I smell something again. Of course, this is all my own little analysis, evaluation of things, is all. Don't worry about me. Now moving on. Moving on. Trump seems to want to be friendly with Iran, is what they're saying now as of August 16, 2024. It seems that both Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris wants for a ceasefire to be implemented, put into effect in Gaza, though I'm still not too sure about what Hamas is doing. More breaking news, August 16, 2024. Gaza ceasefire. Mediators in bid to narrow gaps. Showing now a photo that is depicting the Israeli military on Friday ordered civilians to evacuate more parts of the city of Eunice, where displaced forced to leave their home because of war, persecution, or natural disaster. People were sheltering. They had to leave their homes, but to help keep them all safe, so they had to leave the shelter too. They had to leave their homes, but to help keep them all safe, so they had to leave the shelter too. Mediators in talks on a new Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal say they had presented a plan which narrows the gaps between Israel and Hamas. Qatar, Egypt, and the U.S. said in a joint statement that the past 2 days of discussions in Doha were serious, constructive, and conducted in a positive atmosphere. In a positive atmosphere. That's good to know. They are hoping to be able to finalize the agreement between Hamas and Israel by the end of this week, the week of Monday, August 19th, 2024. U.S. President Joe Biden declared that we are closer than we've ever been to a ceasefire, but a senior Hamas official expressed skepticism. Skepticism? What things was a senior Hamas official saying that was doubtful or with a noticeably questioning attitude? At the very least, this is a statement that buys more time given the tensions, stress, pressured, unease, discontent in the region and the threats of retaliation against Israel from Iran for the murdering in a surprise attack for political reasons of Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran and a senior Hezbollah commander in Beirut last month, July 2024. Is there any natural born earthlings out there that wants to keep these wars going, or does anyone wants to just keep playing games by saying that they are okay with the terms of something and then later on come back with changes or doubtful questions again even after the terms of the agreement have now been adjusted? If so, then please stop messing around and thank you now much more serious. Understand? Is there any natural born earthlings out there that wants to keep these wars going, or does anyone wants to just keep playing games by saying that they are okay with the terms of something and then later on come back with changes or doubtful questions again even after the terms of the agreement have now been adjusted? If so, then please stop messing around and think you now much more serious. Understand? Be mature, not so immature, because silly rabbit tricks are for kids. Any sign of progress in the Qatar talks was regarded as essential, absolutely necessary, extremely important, of great importance, crucial by governments desperate to avoid the war in Gaza spiraling into an all-out sector conflict, serious disagreement or argument, typically a protracted, lasting for a long time, one kind of a clash. The Israeli military launched a campaign in Gaza to destroy Hamas in response to an unprecedented, never done or known before attack on southern Israel on the 7th of October 2023, during which about 1,200 people were forced were forced to become unliving and 250 51 others were taken hostage, seized, take hold of, taken hold of suddenly and forcibly, and held as security for the fulfillment of a condition. More than 40,000 people have been forced to become unliving in Gaza since then, according to the territory's Hamas One Health Ministry. According to the territory's Hamas One Health Ministry. A deal agreed in November saw Hamas release 105 of the hostages in return for a week-long ceasefire and the freeing of some 240 Palestinian prisoners in Israeli jails. Israel says 111 hostages are still being held, 39 of whom are presumed dead. What do they mean by saying presumed dead? Israeli jails can't just straightforward be uncomplicated and easy understanding to say that the Palestinian prisoners are dead or not. Presumed dead. How is that supposed to sound? Either they is or they ain't. Stop tricking my mind up, people. Is Israel trying to say that they is supposed to be dead? Presumed dead. Presumed dead. Presumed dead. Brings a lot of different stuff to come into mind. Saying it that way, Israeli jail. Please give more clarity than saying the word presumed. They either is still living or they ain't. Talking about some presumed. Please get a little more better communication from your jail, Israel, than just them saying the word presumed. Understand? Please, please. Because it may help for Hamas to then to be more at ease, to be at peace with you. If you do, Israel, talking about some presumed, please just say yes or no for them. And just for more clarity from my own self also, is the 39 Palestinian prisoners all dead? Because if so, then just say that they are dead now. That they are dead then. Instead of just saying supposed to be dead. Presumed dead. Supposed to be dead. Because how that sounds saying it like that while they are still in your custody. Oy vey. Saying supposed to be dead now may imply, hint, one to think, are they treating the Palestinian prisoners properly in Israel? So, therefore, if you are truly treating all of the Palestinian prisoners right, then don't say that they are presumed dead henceforth, understand? Because this may be why I've heard people saying things before now, Israel. If you are treating the Palestinian prisoners right, then just come right out and say either yay or nay about any of the Palestinian prisoners being dead. I hope you understand me. Now moving on. The mediator's statement said the U.S. had presented on Friday a plan that narrows the gaps between the parties and is consistent, steady, constant with the principles set out by President Biden on the 31st of May. The mediator's statement said the U.S. had presented on Friday a proposal plan that narrows the gaps between the parties and is consistent, steady, constant with the principles set out by President Biden on 31st of May. Technical teams will continue to work over the coming days on the details of implementation, the process of putting a decision or plan into effect, the carrying out of the plan, execution of the plan, before senior government officials meet again in Cairo, hoping to reach an agreement on the terms set out in Doha. The statement ended by citing the American, Qatari, and Egyptian leaders as warning that there was no more time to waste and no excuses for further delay. The path is now clear to achieve this outcome, save lives, bring relief to the people of Gaza, and calm sector tensions, it added. The path is now clear to achieve this outcome, save lives, bring relief to the people of Gaza, and calm sector tensions, it added. They, including Biden, are saying that there are still processes that must go through before the peace deal can be implemented, put into effect. Netanyahu is hoping that Hamas would now accept the adjusted terms of the peace deal that Hamas had wanted adjusted as of August 16, 2024. The first phase of the deal outlined by President Biden, based on Israel's 27th of May proposal plan, would include a full and complete ceasefire lasting 6 weeks, the withdrawal of Israeli forces from all populated areas of Gaza, and the exchange of some of the hostages, including women, the elderly, and the sick or wounded, for Palestinian prisoners held in Israel. Maybe that's why they want to say it as presumed dead, because the wounded Palestinian prisoners in Israeli jail were supposed to be dead from what they thought by now because of their wounds, but they are still living, so they are saying presumed dead, as in to say they supposed to be dead, but they is still living. A The second phase would involve the release of all other living hostages and a permanent end to hostilities. The third would see the start of a major reconstruction, rebuilding, recovering plan for Gaza, and the return of dead hostages remains. Now showing a photo that is depicting Gaza ceasefire mediators in bed to narrow gaps, and then followed by another photo depicting something that explains in a way how they are feeling about things right now, saying their home is not a home anymore. Now get a sense of what wars can make anybody become to feel. The people are missing their loved ones now. Life is not video game, all you peoples, regardless of your tongue or hue. They, including Israel, are watching the borders around Egypt and other places there, especially anyone going into northern Gaza. They, including Israel, want to make sure that the Palestinians are safe, as well as they, including but especially Israel, are inspecting and screening any people as they come over any borders into any areas, especially anyone that is coming from Egypt or going into North Gaza. There seems to now be a spread of polio that is going around over there caused by fecal matter, which was detected in sewage samples. Due to this spread of polio, they want to protect 640,000 Palestinian children against polio as of August 16, 2024, with vaccinations. And they are saying that this spread of polio is now going into the area where the displaced Palestinians are. Let's be clear. The ultimate vaccine for polio is peace, peace, and an immediate humanitarian ceasefire, UN Secretary General Guterres said. But in any case, a polio pause is a must. It is impossible to conduct a polio vaccination campaign with war raging all over. So, if they want to help the Palestinian children be safe to any degree with their polio vaccine, then the peace deal must be implemented, come into effect for them to safely go in and help even the Palestinian children. So, is Iran now even going to care rightly for a supporter of theirs, the Palestinians, or just use them? Talk about Israel. Now, is Iran going to show some care now? Earlier, the Israeli military issued a new evacuation order for several blocks in northern Khan Yunis and Deir Bala, further shrinking the humanitarian zone. It said the blocks had become dangerous for civilians due to significant acts of terrorism and the firing of rockets and mortars, bombs, missiles towards Israel. The UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, said once again, fear spreads as families have nowhere to go. People remain trapped in an endless nightmare of death and destruction on a staggering scale. The UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, said once again, fear spreads as families have nowhere to go. People remain trapped in an endless nightmare of death and destruction on a staggering, deeply shocking, astonishing, surprising scale. Risk of regional sector war hangs over Gaza ceasefire talks. More than 40,000 forced to become unliving in Gaza, Hamas One Health Ministry says. Lebanon hold their breath as mediators struggle to prevent all-out war. There's now a lot of reasons why this peace deal needs to come into effect, even just so that they can go in to help everyone and children against polio. There's just so much that is now in the water nowadays. Peace. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. They're messing up the cars and everything. Someone wants to play games and change their mind. Are they really about peace or just some maneuvering? Another one said that they are presumed dead. They're either dead or they is not. So be more clear. Well, there's just so much that's in their water nowadays.